Hello and welcome to Why Hire Casting Director and at the CC at the Catskill International Film Festival, our first panel of the week, and we have some of our top casting agents in the Hudson Valley with us today. So I'm going to introduce them, and then we're going to ask them some questions and see if you guys can answer the question, why should we hire a casting director? So our first panelist we're going to introduce is Rita Powers. Give a wave, Rita. Rita Powers of Rita Powers Casting Group has been working in the business for many years and recently worked on casting for the HBO series I Know This Much Is True. And I think myself and Heidi were at the auditions for that, which we were just talking about. That was insane. We had thousands of people audition.
Thank you for helping me, ladies.
Yeah,
I needed it.
And that actually won an Emmy Award performance for with Mark Ruffalo. And Heidi Eklund, Heidi is here with us. CSA, Heidi Eklund Casting, has also been working in the business for many years, and over the years she's worked on casting on basically the majority of the films that have come up here at the Hudson Valley, commercials, movies, anything. In the beginning, when we first started getting really busy in the Hudson Valley, it was basically just Heidi, and she was booking everything.
Thank goodness we have more casting people.
Now we have more.
Not too busy for all of it.
And then we also have Hillary Greer of HBG Casting LLC. She has worked on casting for the majority of films being shot usually down in Orange County, New York, working a lot with Umbra Studios, and recently worked on the Oscar-winning film The Whale. How cool is that, Heidi?
So cool.
It was pretty neat.
Wonderful.
So yeah, I can imagine, and of course, seeing it getting an Oscar, that must have been must have been like, woo!
Yeah, terrific, beautiful people.
Yeah, I'm glad it was shot up here too. It was great.
Yeah,
a great testimony to films being shot in upstate New York.
So Umbra Studios.
Yeah.
Umbra,
I hear they're totally
Umbra.
I can never get a hold of Summer because she's constantly booked with stuff. I'm like, Summer, come do stuff with us. She's like, maybe. Oh no, I'm booked.
All right, good.
So yeah,
I'll hook you up.
Oh, and we have to talk. Remind me later because I wanted to see what that big project is that they're doing. So,
absolutely. Yes.
So let's start with Rita. I'm going to start with a question for Rita. What made you decide to become a casting director, and how do you choose the jobs that you take as a casting director?
Okay, so this is a long story, but I started in 1987 working at a management company making $7 an hour, interviewing the talent to see who was talented. To be honest, when I started, I couldn't tell who was talented, but it was mostly kids. So with kids, it's a lot different than working with adults. And, 2 weeks working in the job, because I was used to, making a lot of money, but making no money whatsoever at this job. 2 weeks, I loved it. And I became one of the managers in this management company. And then I realized that the person that didn't have to deal with I realized the person with the most power, to be quite frank, was the casting director, because as soon as one of the agents in the office, a casting director's on the phone, I'd be like, that's going to be me one day.
And now it's true. So, now it's come to,
and that's where I am. And how do I
choose the jobs you take? Like, is there?
I choose the jobs I take. Well, but I do my research first, because a lot of times, if I'm going to take a job and say they're a little shady, it's going to come back on me. So I do my research first, because I work in a lot of foreign film. I work a lot at companies that don't work here in the U.S. Thank goodness that I've come to a place in the foreign film market where only the big people come to me now. So that's good. But when you're dealing in not, and up and comers here in the US, you don't know who they are. You don't know if they're going to disappear and not pay the talent. And that's going to shine right back on all of us if a client doesn't pay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I pick it. I research them. I read the script. To be honest, I probably have taken scripts I didn't love, but I want actors to work.
Yeah, good point. So like it's hard. Like I know a lot of times we get a lot of indie filmmakers up here that are shooting films, and they call around to hire a casting director. Like, what's the first thing that you would do, Rita, to research them? Would you like
the internet.
legitimate?
I don't find out anything about anybody. I'll do a background check and pay for it if I have to. I'm not playing. I background check my clients. I am not playing. Because you know what? It took a long time for me to get the reputation that I have. And it's not worth losing it on one project.
Yeah. Yep. I get it.
Because I've been in situations where things didn't work out and it all fell back on me in the beginning of my career. I'll never do it again.
Yep. Thanks, Rita.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You never know, right? So a second
know.
question, I'm going to go jump to Heidi. What made you, Heidi, what made you to decide to become a casting director? And how does a casting director fit into the creative process of making a film? It's really a big question. So what made you become a casting director? And how does a casting director fit into that creative process of making a film?
Good question. First of all, I became a casting director out of having been an actor. And I always say this, but it is really my trajectory. I was an ingenue, and I'm still like in that youthful ingenue place, but I'm not young anymore. And there was a time when I knew, like, I gotta do something else. I don't want to be doing ingenue forever. I don't want to be in the, So I went away from all of it for a while. And I ended up skydiving in the Hudson Valley, and I stayed and got a job at Vassar in film because I had done some film work, like behind the camera. And I realized that I liked the crew life. So when I got to Vassar and I was working in the film department, I noticed that some of the talent in the films were like, they weren't bad. They just weren't cast properly. And I thought, well, can I lend a hand here? Can I hold a casting? And they said yes. And I also like to take care of people. And I think there's a lot of nurturing that goes on. So I just kind of started doing it, and they liked it. And in the same year that I started doing that, they started putting the films into festivals. So they kind of like had this really special time when I was there, and this other woman, Jerry, where we started to really put the kids' work on the table, on the map, and give them calling cards for later. And that's how I started. And then film started happening up here. The Woodstock Film Festival anchored and, just expanded and did wonderful things. And then the film commission started, and films, there's always been films made up here because it's so beautiful and wonderful, but we're a hub of where celebrities live, and there's a lot of people who want to do work up here. And so people started calling me at Vassar and saying, oh, I have this, I need this so-and-so. Do you know so-and-so? Can you help me with so-and-so? And then I met Amy Hutchings, and we started casting together, which has been a tremendous friendship, and two partnering businesses who work so beautifully together. Yeah. So that's how I started. Oh gosh, I'm so long-winded. It's always a long story.
No, you're fine.
So creative process. Well, it's so delightful to be in this creative position, and like we're the person who brings the characters. We find the characters. We get to dig through all of this talent, and we get to look at the whole country or the whole world and say, well, who are these actors and how do they fit into this beautiful story? And then we get to present them to the director and the producers, and it's this just delightful conversation about humanity and psychology and backgrounds and status and all the delightful parts of being human. And I think that's how we fit, and that's why I do the work, because I want to like realize myself in this sea of expression, and I get to not only realize myself but everyone else in it as well.
I just wanted to bring up, I just saw this question pop up, and it just reminded me, there's a lot of times when we all work together, you know, because I also help Heidi out and Amy, and a lot of times like they'll all work together, and you know, Heidi and Amy will be casting something, and I know Heidi and Hillary have worked together with casting projects. So there's a lot of times, I know, Rita, we'll get you in one of these. It's like the question was, what happens when a casting directors disagree? And a lot of times, like I've heard, like, you know, casting directors like go back and forth about an actor that's right for a part, or, you know, should we be hiring this person for this background or for this feature role or whatever. And I mean, it kind of is like fighting it out, where you're like saying, oh, this is the benefit and this is the negative and this is that.
Well, I don't think it's a fight. I think it's a beautiful conversation, and it's all in love and strategies and how we speak about the actor, and you know, how they fit, and we have to listen to one another as well. It's not there's just love in it, because we are ultimately all casting the same thing. I mean, Hillary and I
we have the common goal. You got to keep the common goal, and we, you know. And
we listen. We have to listen.
And sometimes like having two heads is better than one when you're looking for a large group of people, you know?
And sometimes there's a team.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to say I started in New York. We know that, right? I started in New York City, not in the Hudson Valley. So it's a lot different, to be honest with you. It's a lot different where in upstate New York than it is in New York City. But I have never never had a fight with another casting director, maybe not even a disagreement. I think we're all, like Hillary said, we all have the same goal. What I can say is when I did come up to the Hudson Valley, the community and you lovely ladies, the way you helped me, Heidi, Amy, Hillary, Sonny, everybody was amazing, collaborative. And that's what I have to say.
Yeah, because all you have to do is like reach out and say, I need your
family.
Help there.
I just asked Heidi today for something. Like I was like, do you know someone like this and this? And you know, and she's, you know, we're all, and also the movie itself, if you have more than one, because I've collaborated with people, again, you have to keep the common goal. And the common goal is the vision. The common goal is script to screen. The common goal is what happens at the beginning, what happens at the end, what's the tone, what's even, I think about what light filters and how the cinematography is going to be, and how does this vision fit into this? Is this actor, while they might be fantastic, but are they in the tone? Because sometimes you can adjust a performance, but you can't adjust energy. And I was just talking to a director, you know, I'm casting this short film, and it's like, so-and-so is right if you're doing a blue filter, but if your cinematography, if you're planning on some kind of yellow filter, these two are going to go together. Like you have to go, and that's the fun collaborative conversations we have, because they're thinking, sometimes it gets into tunnel vision where they think, oh, this is it, and this is you know, I never like a performance. It's always a work in progress. And I tell any actor that when I reach out for a tape, this is not about a performance.
The perfect,
I want to see your energy, and that's what we're talking about. Also, you never know. You want to know who you're sending to set, which is, you know, but you can get that in the slate. There are little tells, and that's where a casting director comes in, because we're the front line and we're the liaison, and we're the front line. We're the front line for the whole production, from costumes to director to the PAs, because we are vetting people not just for their logistics or their performance. I can tell someone's personality from an email.
Yeah.
And and we all can. And sometimes, and we are all very compassionate, because sometimes someone starts out and they're nervous. So there was an actor that I could tell it was from anxiety and not, being impolite. I could tell it was a fear.
Yeah.
And we got through that to where, that this person was comfortable and able to let down a guard, to really be themselves instead of be anxious about their own stuff. Because sometimes people are like, I want it now.
Is that we're all rooting for them. We want them to be good.
Yeah.
They don't realize. They don't realize. That's why they get nervous, because they don't realize that we're on the other side saying, come on, kill it,
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, come on, ruin it for everyone. Come on.
There's nothing to be nervous about. That's what
make it a hard choice. I want it to be hard. Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys saw that question that came up. It was, what do we do? What do we do if an actor is sent if it's in the director or the producer has a hard time with that actor? Do you feel a lot of pressure because you were the one that sent them over there?
I've seen people get fired recently.
Well, that was nothing.
I wasn't connected to that particular actor.
But
it was a little shocking.
It was shocking.
And it would, I would feel worried. I recently cast actually an animal in something, and they got injured, and I felt responsible for that, even though it really had nothing to do with me. That being did end up working, but I was really worried that.
So it works on both ends.
Wasn't available.
Well, not only that,
we're sending them, and they're, as well. Sorry, Rita.
Well, whether you feel responsible or not, other people hold you responsible. I did a movie shot up in Albany and sent people all the way from New York, and they went bankrupt with everybody up there that was bussed up there. The whole company went bankrupt. In the end, they were big people. They got the money together. They paid everybody. But these people were stuck up there, and they didn't pay anybody. And who was the only face out there was me. Because I was
because you're the front line.
Because you're the one who sent them up there. Yeah.
So who was the only face out there but my face? So when they were owed money and everything, it was my responsibility. People were calling me like I could do something about it.
Yeah.
But, it's not only you.
Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to work out, the chemistry, once they get to set with the director, but you try to only bring people in that will have that vibe with them, right? But you don't know that. I don't take responsibility for that. I don't, because it's not my chemistry with them.
It's true. Right? It's like personalities are, you don't know whose personality.
And I think Heidi said earlier, and this is true, it's not just the director choosing. There's a team. Yeah. There are producers. Sometimes there's a network, and sometimes somebody else. And then it's just investors. Or it can be just logistics. But it's
sometimes the leads get to choose. Who's in the scene with them too?
They get to
if they don't feel the chemistry, then they're not. They don't want them. Yep. So Hillary, we didn't hear how you got into casting.
Oh, gee whiz. I'll contain it. Well, I am an actor. I've been an actor since I was 7 years old. And then I got very shy in sixth grade. I started to get called back for Broadway shows and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't want to do this. So I just did it. I did it locally and things like that. But I was very interested in production, and I worked in a commercial production house during college, and then after college, it just turned into a thing. And I went back into acting. Full-time film and TV. And then I I met Summer Crockett Moore at an audition on a bench.
The
And we
best. Hi,
became-
Summer, if you're out there watching.
She is the best. She and Tony Glazer are the managing partners of Choice Films up in the beautiful Hudson Valley. And they also have Umbra Stages, and they have many stages now, which is terrific. And I asked her one thing, because I had interned for a casting director, and when I did, I said to myself, I don't want to do this. I was like, okay, I've decided I'm going to just go into production and be an actor, because I wanted to be in the business. I missed being on set. I missed the energy. I missed the crew. I like training wires. I like picking stuff up. I like, doing physical stuff
Hands-on
with
stuff, yeah.
lots of terrific creative people. And I said, hey, if anything's ever coming up, and if I'll clean, I'll do paperwork, I just would love to work with you, because I love you, and because I would love to put my feet back into production. And I started on a film, and I was going to be the paperwork PA. Then I was going to be the BG PA. And then they said, oops, wait a minute, we don't have a background casting director. Do you want to do it? And I was like, and it was a union film. I learned on the fly. I was the background PA and the casting director. I had the day and night shift. And
On a
we had
union
2 weeks
film?
of
That's a lot
overnight
to
on a union
learn.
film. I learned everything, because I was in a rolly chair in the office. I would roll my chair over to the paymaster and ask questions. I would roll my chair over to Tony and Summer's office and be like, okay, what this paperwork, everything. I left no stone unturned to learn everything I could. You have them line up at the end and it was an incredible experience that I'll never forget. And I learned everything. And then after that, I was like, okay, that was a great experience, and I'm just going to work in
Because if you could do that,
production.
you could do more.
Yeah,
Like you could do
but
anything.
people kept asking me to do it, and I was like, okay. And then somebody said, you should open a business. And I was like, oh, so you stop it. And I did. And I love it. And I'm so into it. Like I'm into it. I could sit here. Sometimes I work accidentally with the lights off, because I'm so into it.
You're squinting to read it. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I'm like,
say,
oh.
Hillary's energy, just working together, refreshed my love of background casting, because I was like really trying to get over to the
and there's days I
And
know
I'm
we
like-
work with that, and there's days when you're like, man, this is driving me crazy. Background casting.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
It's
no
not.
simple feat, and it is no simple feat. It's not for the light of heart, but making movies itself, I always say this, you're making someone's dream come true. Someone had a dream of this. It makes me cry. Someone dreamed up that story, and then they wrote it down, and they wrote it down again, and they worked on it every day. And that's somebody's dream that you get to be a part of. Sorry. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, it's
so
not only the people that write, it's the
going.
people that you face. Even some of these background actors get so excited. It's been their dream to be in a movie.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
sweet.
And I love
And
that.
they're getting
beautiful.
emails where like they want
My
to
dream.
do
I
it.
mean, that makes
Yeah.
me feel so good.
Yes.
That's part of it. When I
Yes,
was an
it is.
agent or a manager, or even now, I cast a lot of principals, mostly. So this was my dream. That's the best part of this job, making other people.
Yeah. Oh, those emails are beautiful. Yeah.
So I'm just going to jump to some of these questions that people were popping up. And I think Heidi can probably attest to this one, but a question was, how did you become a CSA?
Oh, well, I haven't even announced it officially yet, because the timing was so sad about it. But I was actually working on a film when I finally found out. But I reached out to them like a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, okay. So, you reach out and you try to find out what you need, because you don't just walk in and they hand it to you. There's years of work that you have to prove that you did and it's casting principles, and it has to be a certain amount of hours. So I I set out to do it one time, and I couldn't even do the paperwork. It was so time consuming. But when this year came up, and it was like already slow, the strike was kind of looming at that time, I sat down and I filled everything out, and I had to reach out to every producer and tell them I was doing it. I also am really into wellness, and these were my five acts of hope, like asking people to putting it out there to someone and saying, I really hope that you'll support me in this, and everyone was very supportive. And eventually, after many months, they vetted every single thing that I did, all the call sheets, all the IMDb, and reaching out to producers. I finally did get approved. So it is a long process. I'm sure that it's comparable to becoming a producer, getting your producer and directors guild, and SAG-AFTRA also has a rigorous process to get actors in. You have to prove yourself there. So it was, and being there, I haven't been a CSA for long, but the resources and the community are incredible, and I am learning so much. And wow, just such a joy and a privilege to be in and among this group of talented people. So
this is another question that popped up, and this was like with Hillary. Oh, you're so sweet. I want to do that too. So with Hillary and Heidi being actors as well as casting directors, the question was, do you feel like you have more of an understanding about the audition processes and and how they feel when they don't get the part, or when they do get the part? Are you a little more sympathetic? And also they asked if have you ever cast yourself in some of your projects?
Oh, I feel like, and I'm not going to use the word, I'm going to use the word more compassionate with, because it is, I mean, on the other side, I've learned so much. And it's just to be invited, it's an honor and a privilege. I know that for myself as an actor, just to be invited, because and I saw a question about, how do you, with, nervousness.
Yeah, that was my next thing. Like
and it's like, you're already invited to the party. We see you. We see your energy from that picture. You are invited. So I say, know that you're already chosen if somebody has reached out to you and you are being considered. You are chosen. And the rest is up to you. Mm-hmm. The rest is up to you. And it's, be brave. There's an acting school that I have studied with many years, is the MN Studio in New York City, and one of their little sayings is, "Have fun, don't suck." That's it. And it's, when watching someone, it's like, just, I feel like, stay in class. My goodness, I mean, even the best actors, they have on-set coaches. They go to coaches. Know that, please.
And I always say, like, even if you don't have the money to do classes, like, do something every day that's in your craft. Do a monologue, practice some scenes, like do something improv, like do 100%. Something to practice. Yeah.
There's a million resources.
Here's my booth, and I present it in the background because this is my baby, and this is my creative like world inside there. I have one of the best agents, and I'm so fortunate, and I get to audition for a lot of voiceover, and I love doing voiceover. I'm still young. I present as still sometimes teen, and it's nice because it's separate. I'm not really, I will do on camera. I'm not seeking that out at the moment. I'm more interested in working with others to get them on camera. Early on, I probably got cast and did casting at the same time, but not. I didn't cast myself. I was invited by the director and then invited to do the casting. I try not to double dip because I think SAG doesn't like it, even though I'm a SAG actor. I think even still they want to keep it separate. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's going back to the question of like, do you cast yourself in your projects? Oh, Rita, did you
Oh
say
yeah,
something?
never.
Hold on, Rita, you're on mute.
Rita's muted.
Uh-oh.
I saw her talking. I was like, wait a second. Go ahead,
A
Rita.
lot
There
of
she
my
is.
clients have forced me to
They want you to
audition,
be
or they're just like, no, we're writing a role for you because I'm a character. I already know that.
You're so delightful and fun. You
And
have
they're
the
like,
best
well, I'm going to write a
energy.
role for you. And I'm like, no. I just have one job on this one. Thanks.
Well, the thing is, he's saying that is like, people have to realize everybody's castable. You're telling a story when you walk down the street. You're telling a
Yeah.
story when you go have your breakfast. You're feeling a certain way. You're in a situation. You're doing your slice of life movie
Yep.
every
Yeah.
day and every moment.
Yeah.
So that's where like you have to get to the place. You don't have to. I'm not going to force anybody, but to know thyself, and get and as we, got more comfortable,
That's
and then
actually,
you can really step over the kabuki bridge and go to a character, but to change,
Yeah.
but really it's
the well-being
everybody here.
Okay. So I have a question for Rita. This is Rita question.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
prior to COVID, right? Self-taped auditions were becoming popular, but they weren't like, recognized as the standard. During COVID, it became the industry standard. Is it still the industry standard now that COVID is kind of wearing off? What do you think, Rita? Yeah.
I think, yes, it is still the industry standard. I can't see, especially with the COVID upticks here and there at times and I'm not taking the liability that someone is coming to my casting and going to get sick. So my answer is when my client says to me, hey, can we do an in-person casting? Yes, you take the liability because I'm not. Right, ladies?
Absolutely.
Do you want to take the liability of somebody getting sick?
Yeah.
No, and I've seen it happen.
No.
Yeah.
At a
Yeah,
callback.
and I've seen it happen. I've seen people
I
on
don't.
set that have had COVID. So I'm not getting in the middle of all that. To be quite honest, I would much rather cast in person than either Zoom or EcoCast or all, how I do it. Self-submitting is what it's really starting with. And that's not what a lot of these talent are used to. And that's where the problem lies, I think. See, I'm a mess, but I'm not auditioning and I'm not going to audition. But, I've seen actors audition for me with all this stuff going on behind them.
Well, that's where, you say, why do you hire a casting director?
Yeah.
We give very specific directions now. We know what we're looking at. We know how to tell the actors to present themselves best. So you can just focus on performance. It's part of the logistics, but it's also part of the creative. But some people, yes, they don't know with the, self-tape, and YouTube is excellent, the World Wide Web.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We'll talk a little bit because that's one of my questions too. We'll talk a little bit of self-taping. Heidi, what do you think makes a good self-tape audition? What are some things you're looking for in a good self-tape audition?
Well, I get distracted by background stuff. But Rita's room is beautiful. It's not distracting, by the way.
Like plain, like the walls.
I like things in the space, but I don't want weird things like one outlet. Like one single outlet would drive me more crazy than like a strategic room that someone's sitting in. So either make it completely blank or put up a curtain or put up one of your screens. Everybody has a screen now. And just make the room quiet. Try to get the dogs to shush. Don't be doing it when they're picking up trash and it's like, and you hear the machine. you know, I get it. New York City, beeping cars, whatever, that's fine as long as it's not overpowering you. But I want to know about you and how I want to see your face. I want to see you like here. I want to see this much. Sometimes you could give me this much, but I want to see you. I want to see what your eyes are doing. If you can avoid wearing glasses like me, you know, you could see so much more of my expression that way, but I look sadder. So I'm going to put these back on. Anyway, I just want to see the person and, you know, light behind you. Like I have light behind me, but it's not distracting. I still have a nice warm light on my face right now. So I look presentable, like you can see. And I like, you know, I don't want people dressing up in costumes, but, you know, don't show up in like a tattered sweatshirt or a tank top when you're a nurse or doctor, a professional. Like you have to take it on a little bit, but no big productions. Don't pay anyone. You know, whatever setup you have at home where you can light your face and be present in the moment and do good work. Mostly I care about how you act and what you give me through this medium. You know, this is the medium you have. What are you giving me? You know, what are you giving?
Well, I mean, but that's my biggest problem is that, you know, you send them, especially on the self-tapes, they have to have the material ahead of time, but yet they're still like this, you know.
Yeah.
Even seasoned trained actors, that's a problem.
We can't be down like this, guys.
Yeah.
I even yes, I have acting training, a lot of it. And I really work to look right into the camera when I'm talking because I'm going to reach you. You see, my eyes are looking at you. And I struggle because I want to see what Hillary's doing and I want to look at my paper that I have, my cheat sheet and all of that. But really, ultimately, what am I doing? I'm connecting to you. I'm reaching out to you right here and right now. And that's what I want to see. I want to see why talking to the person over there is so important. And how are you going to change them?
So that, yeah, that's really great advice. Also, high five, Hillary. And this is another thing that, you know, actors, you know, are always really concerned with whenever we have casting panels. There's always this question, and that is, how important are headshots? Do they need it to be professional, and how current should they be? I'm guilty for that because my headshots are so old right now. But go ahead.
But we know you. No, yours are great. They're very sweet. It's, you know, just like we're the front line, your headshot is the front line. So it's to look like you. And sometimes, you know, it's the first thing we see. That's the first impression. I'm in the middle of doing a commercial casting, right? And the role, you know, you see the breakdown of the mood of the roles. And I'm like I switch people's headshots out because I'm like, why, because sometimes they will submit something that just doesn't have the energy. Now, I'm not a fan of having like, oh, I'm going to wear scrubs. I'm going to wear police uniform. Blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like a modeling portfolio, right?
I want to see a very simple, who are you? I'm going to use slice of life again. Who are you in your slice of life? You know, a lot of movies start out with slice of life. The character is in the kitchen making breakfast, but you can tell the way they make breakfast, what's important to them, and you get who they are within 60 seconds. And that to me is like a headshot because I like you wear something really simple. Don't overbrand yourself out of the role because you may have that leather jacket and you're here.
Yeah.
However, who are you when you speak? Well, let us do the creative work and the casting. Don't cast yourself out of a role with your headshot. And current, you know, if you change your look, and it depends how old you are, kids need to change, you know, kids much more often. For me, I maybe every 5 years because I like getting my picture taken. What can I say? But it doesn't have to be super professional. It just has to look like you and be clear.
And so somebody was just asking, Like, what do you do if you feel like you're already a type? Like if you are like somebody who's like all tattooed up or.
Then don't put a hat on a hat. And what I mean by that is you already look like that. You don't have to do this. Because I want to know also within that headshot who I'm spending the day with. You know, so you already have the big muscles, I know somebody, it's like he's 6'6", he's huge, he's got tattoos, and we get it. He's terrific, but his headshot's kind of like, hey, you know,
It's like, oh, he's a gentle giant, right?
you want to invite me over? Because of course we know he can stop, you know, but it's just like invite them in, reach when you take that headshot, reach kind of over the camera. You know, you can connect to the camera, but also be like, you know, who are you? Are we going to want to spend the day with you? Because that headshot is going to cover a lot. I have a very upscale face. I have sucked in little cheeks. So I don't want to look like a little, you know, so I make sure to warm it up because otherwise I look like, or not like that. I don't want to look like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so Rita, what is your process? Oh no, we'll do that one. Standing up. What is your process for choosing actors for a role? Walk us down that process. And does it change? Like, it does, but like, what's the different process?
Changes project to project. BG actors, I just go by headshots. That's all you can go by. You know, quite honestly, I've been asked by clients to get video of BG actors. And if it's union, I'm like, yeah, you got to pay for that. No, I mean, BG actors is definitely just a headshot. And when I'm looking for, you know, lead roles, principal roles, I'm going to call agents. I'm going to call an agent because that's why they're there, to make my job easier. No matter where I work in this country, I'm going to find out who the best agent in that town is. I don't only work with agents. I do go out to actors on their own because I put it on all the casting websites. So my process is to look through everything, work with the agents I want to work, because generally when I put it on the casting website, I've already sent it out to the agents I want to work with. I give them allotted times, and then I leave myself like maybe 20 to 25% where I'm going to pick the actor on my own to bring in. And you know what the weirdest thing is? 90% of the time, it's the people I pick on my own. A lot of the times, it's going to be who I chose. So my process is, I don't know. I guess I just know, but I don't know how. I just know, you know, years of practice, an instinct, knowing what the director wants, you know, that's first and foremost. I need to know exactly what's in the director's mind. Is there leeway in the character, or you are dead set on this look and in this, you know, persona? Is that what you're looking? You know what I mean? That's my first process in casting, talking to them.
Have you ever changed a director's mind of what he was looking for?
Oh, yes, I have. And this is some story. I'm casting in Philadelphia, not even in New York, right? So I'm in Philadelphia casting for turned out to be a pretty huge film, actually. And I know this actor's right for it, but he's too young. So I tell him to go get a gray wig and fake a mustache and come in and audition. Well, he comes from New York to Philly and he looks terrible. Horrible. It was a terrible job in putting the prosthetics on, let's put it that way, because there was a lot of prosthetic going on. Turned out, called him back for a callback and gave him the role and lowered the age because he looked ridiculous. But I knew that he would love this actor, and it worked out. There are quite a few times where weird things like that have happened, but that was pretty funny.
So there was something else I was going to ask with this too. let me jump to one of the questions. They asked us if we've seen with our casting that there's some disparity between what women get paid and what men get paid for roles.
Usually, yeah, everyone kind of
that's
favors.
I mean, here, may I say, when you're working with, okay, first of all, you think about who goes to the movies, and women go to the movies. That's the thing, or it's just a statistic. I'm not being sexist. It's just the statistic is that, and that who's paying the ticket. Now, for us, in what we do, and I love independent film where it is, there's filmmaker. I'm not going to get into like budget stuff, but I have not noticed, because there are incredible women stars, absolute stars, that carry those movies. I just talked to a producer a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, he had two very well-known actors in the leads. She wiped the floor with him, and he was like, somebody asked him, like, was that hard for the male actor? And what he said, what, it actually pushed his performance, because she was absolutely in it every day, almost like method acting, and it pushed her co-star to where his performance, and it was a critically acclaimed film. But so I don't find that, but I do see that, and that's what the statistics are said to me about that kind of thing when we look, because it can be unfair in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
I've
And
never
the thing is, yeah, like I just saw them ask this kind of the similar question again.
I mean,
which
if
would
you
say,
have a union film, it's the same pay. If you're working on a union film, it's standard. If you're going to negotiate a contract, the agent's going to negotiate it.
that's the thing. Like we
and
don't
if it's a
usually.
Talking about,
If
yeah,
it's a
not
non-union
us.
independent film, I'm making the rates. I'm certainly not going to be disparaging.
Yeah.
I give the suggestions and then we go back and forth. That's how it works. But I would never do that. So no, I've never seen that.
But this is why people see that, and it is changing, but it changes. We have to go step by step and say, you know what, it's not just about that, because actors do not get paid for the minutes, they get paid for the years. And I forget who said that, but you do not get paid for the minutes you're on screen. You get paid for the years you have worked, the reputation you have created for yourself, and the relationships, how you are offset. I'm sorry, it's very important to.
Yeah. And I'm bad with this too, because like, a lot of times like you negotiate the price that you're going to get paid, or your agent negotiates the price. Right. And I remember like one of my acting teachers was like, you need to know your worth. Like you can't just keep, acting in projects for free and just doing, the lowest if you want to make a living, like you have to advocate for yourself and know what your worth is, so that you do get what
you don't know your worth, nobody else will.
Yeah.
If you don't know your worth, nobody else will. And that was a hard lesson, especially for us ladies who negotiate our own rates. That's a hard lesson to learn.
Thank you for bringing that up, Rita. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a hard lesson to learn to know your own worth. It's, you want to do good. And if you're not working, you want to do something, but I'm sorry, I don't work for free. I put too many years in. I don't need the credits.
Yeah.
And for us, it's not just
the credits. And
we have built a reputation and relationships with our actors. My actors are my clients as well.
Yeah. At the database and the connections and the years of paying work and then going to ask somebody to work for free later. I mean, there are projects where, people don't have money And sometimes people come to me with the expectation that I'm just going to deliver a handful of headshots, and
Nothing.
I might work for free on something, but it depends how you ask me and what it's for. And, are you asking?
And who's
for
asking?
help?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who is asking? Like, I help students.
Charity.
Yeah.
I've done it for charity. That's it.
That's right.
If somebody comes to me with a real charity and they need my help, I'm going to help them. But if there's somebody out there that is making money off of what I'm going to do, no, sorry, you're going to have to pay me.
Yeah, I agree with
or
that.
passion
Lisa.
projects.
And I think that comes from my years of being an agent and a manager. But when I first started doing this as a casting director, just as actors, you're insecure. I didn't know what I should be making. I'm making up my own rates. I don't know what the going rate is. And I remember my friend who was a very big acting coach said those exact words to me that you said, Sonny, if you don't know your worth. And the end result was nobody else will know your worth if you don't.
Yeah.
So every actor should also know that. That's what because I teach.
And it's not just about money, that worth.
Yes. Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
about
not
treatment.
just about money. About treatment, respect. Exactly.
Yeah. Because we're gonna give you everything. We're gonna give you. I know that Heidi and Rita and we are going to give you everything. Everything we can, every minute, every energy, every hour. We want we want it to be beautiful, and we'll work when we have until it is.
True. Yep.
Okay, so
And
it
we
looks
can't
like we
help
have like
ourselves.
about 4 more minutes left. So I'm gonna just do one more question. We'll just
Time's
end with everybody. What do you think? Do we do like the biggest pet
Fun one?
peeves of casting, or what do you want to change in the casting world? I'll let you pick. What do you want to change in the casting world, or your biggest pet peeve in casting? Give you a second. All right, Heidi, what do you think?
Well, I was kind of we hit on it. It's like when people come to us and
and ask for
we
free.
have a database, and that that we're the expert in the neighborhood, that we just provide. I've had it happen so many times. And
It's like free cheese at Target or whatever.
Right. Yeah, just send me those headshots. First off, how can I send you the headshots? I don't know what you're paying them, when they're working, what's the project
Go to
about.
Costco and get some samples if you'd like to eat a dinner. I love the coconut shrimp.
So
I know it's like you don't show up in the grocery store and go, "All right, I'm taking this."
Yeah. This is free, right? I can have this for free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good. I can have this for free, right? Is that free?
You're not going to charge me for that, right?
Yeah. There it is. You're not charging me for that. It was only a minute.
The fun one is when in the background world, when they're like, okay, so it's it's 200 background, and we're going to pay you this much, and then by next week it's 400 background.
600.
Paycheck has
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. The lumberman is going to bring one full truck of wood, and I'm going to pay for that truck of wood. He's not going to come with a second one for free. It ain't going to happen.
I'll tell you one of my when people get I say be friendly but not familiar. So when an actor is reaching out to me and the email is some kind of weird, not weird, but it's some kind of demand, like, hey, I didn't get this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what film are you working on? What do you mean, hey?
Yeah.
I'll accept hey from we all do get from production, like, hey, did you get that thing? Hey, did you schedule that fitting? Hey, and I'm like, hey, you, love you so much. Here it is. I got you. But when, friendly but not familiar, where I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Do I know you? Where is this coming from?
What do you mean? Hey, I didn't get this. I'm like, well, that's an email I'll take a good 24, 48 hours to reply to. hey, you.
No, I saw another question pop up too, guys. They want to know about agents and how do actors get agents?
I can answer that question.
Rita's got that one.
I was an agent.
Yes, she can.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because she was an agent. Yeah.
I was an agent. So I'll, if you don't mind, ladies.
No, you
How do you
should.
get an agent?
Absolutely
You
should.
gotta have good material. You show up with good material. You gotta be a good actor. You gotta be professional. You gotta show up on time. You have to have good headshots and a reel. That's how you're gonna get an agent. That's it.
And be nice.
And the first time you're not professional, they're gonna dump you.
Yeah, you have to go in and prepared. Like you have to go in with all these materials. You can't just go in.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
tell a
walk into
story
an
about
office
when
and
I
be
was
like-
an agent.
Yeah.
I was an agent in a very, very, very famous person's mother I repped. She was in my office one day and she leaves. And that night she gets arrested for a legal gun in her bag.
Good.
We were all friendly with the same people. So everybody's calling me up, telling me, don't give her any money to get out of jail. So, but I don't. And she calls me 2 days after she's released. And I say, hey, you know, when you came to my office, did you have a gun in your bag? I dumped her that
wow.
day.
Mm.
Wow.
Like, seriously. So, yeah,
Wow.
don't go to your agent's office with a gun in your bag. I tell you that right now. You'll get the.
Thank you, Rita. That is excellent advice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Or maybe that's a good way to get signed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Oh
what? You
my
got to do
goodness.
the work. You have to have the good material. Even if you have to video it yourself, you have to have something to show your creativity, your work.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
that's
ladies,
it.
well-
You know.
Anybody else want to throw in anything on that?
Well,
I-
what could
I
you
think
say?
I know. How can you follow?
What
that?
can we say after that? But Heidi and I both have management and agents, so it's work
I think
and it's
you have.
great.
Yeah, it's a lot. You have to keep on your toes, because when the work comes, when the auditions come, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
You got to have your instrument tuned up.
Yeah. And it's a relationship also.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
you
a-
can't
To
just-
water the garden of that relationship.
I feel
If you're,
and on
you
the
know,
agent,
be
like the actors, so it's
grateful.
Like I have an agent; they do all the work for me. I'm like, no, they don't.
No, they don't. And
Yeah.
be grateful and
No.
know that they're working too. They get 10% or 15%. You do the other part. And also do the other part to tell them you appreciate them. You
But
know,
that's the difference
please.
between me being a casting director and being an agent. I don't feel that responsibility that I don't feel that responsibility towards the talent, because I had my own SAG franchise agency many years ago. I just wanted to be a manager after that, because working by SAG's rules for me didn't work. I'm not in the union, so you know. But it's all. I always told actors in the beginning, it's all about relationships. It's always all about relationships. That's what got me to where I'm sitting here at this seminar.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of, I love you guys.
I love y'all. You guys too.
Oh,
We have to get
delightful.
together soon and have a
Mwah.
little
Yeah.
casting party.
Please, because I'm really
Wow,
hungry.
that was so much fun. Thank you.
Also, guys,
Thank you.
one more piece of advice. Somebody asked, what should they do to stand out in auditions or on a self tape?
you.
Like, is there something that you can
Yeah.
tell?
Be
I think
you,
we'll all say,
the
yeah.
beautiful you that you are.
Be you.
Yeah.
If you're not you, we can see it. We deal with
Yeah.
actors every day.
And breathe.
Yeah, breathe.
Please breathe.
Have anxiousness, breathe. Do some limericks before you audition.
Limericks.
Something like, you know, what they teach you in theater school.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red, leather, yellow.
Oh, that's
what
an old
I teach.
Evers.
You can only do it
That one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any last questions from the audience? We got 30 seconds. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
Lisa
you for
Marie.
being here with us.
And
Hi,
hi to
Teresa.
Regina.
Yeah, I saw
And
Regina
Teresa.
popped in a couple times.
Oh, I love Regina. I love Teresa too. We all know
Yeah.
the same people
I know.
Yeah.
too.
It's a Hudson Valley. It's like a small little film
Yeah.
community. So
We love you guys. Thank you, Sunny.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you
thank
guys.
you.
You always
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great seeing you, ladies.
Thank
A
you,
pleasure.
Alexis.